before. We had the only white population decline in absolute numbers for the first time ever since the very first census back in 1790. The population of people who identify as only white in the United States, so that's not white in something else, but just white, shrank in absolute numbers. And we've never seen this in the history of the United States. The number of people who identified as multicultural jumped significantly from about 9 million or so in the last census in 2010 to over 33 million this time, a more than threefold increase. We also saw growth in demographic groups like, for example, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, who are a really diverse group of people coming from a lot of different cultures and who are now becoming a bigger and bigger part of America. What we really saw in the numbers this time around, in fact, was that the growth in the American population is really coming from minorities and marginalized communities, and they're really driving the population increases in the United States, not just over the past decade, but presumably in years to come for this country as well. Another notable item from the census was that while the US population is still growing, that growth is slowing down. So we saw, in fact, the slowest rate of growth since the 1930s, since the throes of the Great Depression in this country. That slower rate of growth has implications for a lot of things. Economically, for example, it potentially means fewer workers in the United States in years to come. So that's something that we're really going to see reverberate throughout American society.